And then, sir, would you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Wayne Boening, B-O-E-N-I-N-G.
And Mr. Banning, you're employed at the Westside Chocolate Factory?
That's correct.
How long have you been so employed?
It's over 11 years.
And what are your duties there presently?
I'm a production supervisor.
And in the course of your employment, did you have the opportunity to meet someone known to you as Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yes, I did.
Is he present in the courtroom now?
Yes, he is.
You stipulate?
I stipulate, yeah.
Okay. When did you first meet Mr. Dahmer?
I became his supervisor, I believe it was in May of 1986. I had met him before that, but I became his supervisor then.
Okay. Do you recall if he was an employee of the Westside Chocolate Company at the time you became a supervisor?
At the time that I became a supervisor?
His supervisor?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And did he have to go through a probationary period?
Yes, he did.
How long does the probationary period last?
Probationary period is 1 year.
Okay. And did you review his performance while he was on probation?
I did not.
Okay. How many folks did you directly supervise when you were supervising Mr. Dahmer in 1986?
In 86, would have been 4 people.
Okay. Did you have any major problems with Mr. Dahmer in the early years of his employment with the Westside Chocolate Company?
No, I did not.
What is the title of what job Mr. Dahmer had at the Westside Chocolate Company?
He is a member of a production team involved in making chocolate.
Okay. And specifically, would you describe his job as that of a mixer?
Yes, you could use that.
Okay. And is that pretty much the same position he held up until the time of his termination in July of this year? Last year?
Yes.
Okay. Could you describe what the duties of a mixer are, please?
He'd be responsible for measuring ingredients according to a recipe.
Okay. Would he have to order up raw materials?
Yes, he would.
Okay. And would he have to add the cocoa, the oil, the sugar, the flavorings to the all those raw materials to make the basic chocolate?
Yes.
Okay. And would specific ingredients have to be added at certain times relative to other ingredients?
Pretty much so, yes.
Okay. And did Mr. Dahmer perform those sort of activities adequately?
He did a satisfactory job.
Okay. How many mixers work at one time, usually?
When we're fully staffed, 3.
Okay. Compared with other mixers who worked at the Westside Chocolate Company, how was Mr. Dahmer's performance? How would you rate his performance?
It was satisfactory.
Okay. Did Mr. Dahmer get along with the other employees?
As much as I could see, yes.
Okay. How did he act in relation to you? Did he get along with you?
I had no problems with Jeff.
Was he polite, courteous?
Jeff was always polite and courteous, receptive.
Okay. Did he make sense when he spoke with you?
Yes.
Able to carry on an intelligent conversation?
Yes.
Okay. He had good days and bad days just like everyone else. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Is it fair to say that Mr. Dahmer kept pretty much to himself?
I think it would be fair to say that, yes.
Okay. Did you think that was odd in any way?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
He was quiet and reserved. He had no problem interacting with others, but just seemed mainly to stay to himself.
I'd like to draw your attention back to about 1988, 1989. Do you recall when Mr. Dahmer was staying at the House of Correction?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Was there any marked change in his work performance at that time?
No, nothing that I noticed.
Okay. Did you have any indication that he was going through some period of great stress in his life or was unable to do his work duties?
No.
In fact, would it be fair to say that Mr. Dahmer volunteered for extra overtime while he was working there, while he was living at the House of Corrections?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Anything strange about that?
No, not really.
Actually, it's kind of nice for an employer when an employee volunteers to do overtime, isn't it?
It makes it much easier than trying to assign it to somebody who may not want it.
Getting down to different behavior on Mr. Dahmer's part. According to company records, at one point, he appears to have poured the wrong oil into a mixing vat, and the planned product had to be changed. Do you recall that incident?
Specifically, no.
Okay. If Mr. Dahmer was written up or reprimanded for that, would that be something completely out of your knowledge? Would that be the sort of thing that you wouldn't be able to believe?
No, that would be something that I would do if an incident of that nature occurred.
Okay, would it be fair to say that that sort of mistake could happen to just about anyone who's a mixer at some time?
Yes.
Okay. Other than his pattern of attendance, are you aware of any other problem that Jeff Dahmer had at work?
Nothing major at all. No.
Okay. Let's talk about Mr. Dahmer's appearance at work. Was he usually well-groomed?
Usually, yes.
Okay. Come to work clean?
Yes, as
haircut?
much as I could see, yes.
Okay. Was there any indication that Mr. Dahmer was racist while you were working with him?
No indication to me, no.
Okay. How many years did you work with Mr. Dahmer as his foreman or supervisor?
It was over 5 years.
Okay. During that time, would it be fair to say that you had the opportunity to observe Mr. Dahmer closely?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. During that time, did you ever believe that Mr. Dahmer was hearing voices?
No.
Having hallucinations?
No.
Was he able to carry on intelligent conversations?
Yes.
Did he ever respond to your questions in an incoherent manner?
No.
Was he ever what appeared to you to be irrational?
No.
Did he ever do anything that you thought was just strange or bizarre?
No.
Do you recall any inappropriate behavior on Mr. Dahmer's part?
No.
Just adding up the dates from 1986 to July of 91, you worked with him a little over 5 years, right?
Yes.
And those are 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year pretty much, right?
Yes.
Considering that whole 5-year period, can you describe what impression was made on your mind by the conduct, actions, manner, expressions, and conversations which you observed in Mr. Dahmer?
I thought nothing unusual at all. He, as I said before, he was a satisfactory employee. Pretty much did his job and kept to himself.
Seemed like a fairly nice guy.
Yes.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Banning, you've indicated that there was a period of time that Mr. Dahmer volunteered for overtime work, correct?
Yes.
And you knew at the time that he was spending time at the House of Correction, correct?
I was aware of that, yes.
And would you agree then, of course, that you would know that if he volunteered for additional overtime, it was due to the fact that he knew he would be out of jail longer by working longer? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever socialize with Mr. Dahmer?
Socialize...
Outside of work?
Outside of work? No.
You never did?
I did give him a ride home once, but as far as socializing, no.
That would be the extent of anything socially that you did with Mr. Dahmer?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Dahmer, as I see is indicated here, has worked at the company from January of '85. Is that correct?
That's
Your
correct.
knowledge? Okay. So that was about 7 years before the time that he was actually dismissed. 6.5, 7 years, close to.
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, I think you testified that you had indicated you were his supervisor for 5 of those years?
Yes.
Okay. Now, during the period of time prior to December of '89, would you say as his supervisor that he was in pretty good attendance?
Yes, I think he had run into trouble once before that where he had gotten himself pretty far into our attendance system, but he had pulled out of that.
Okay. I have here some records of disciplinary action sheets. And it indicates, you have your signature on here that indicates that on December 1st of 1989, that there was excessive absenteeism, and there was a record of written warning for that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then again, on 4/8 of '91, you have your signature again to a record of disciplinary action, indicating that he was given a verbal warning. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Once again, in 5/20 of '91, there was once again your signature to a record of disciplinary action giving an additional written warning for absenteeism. If I was to tell you this also exists, would you agree with that?
Yes.
And again, in 6 of '91, there was again another, you signed another record of disciplinary action giving a final warning. That's correct?
That's correct.
So in fact, there was verbal and written warnings given to Mr. Dahmer during this period of time showing a deterioration in his work, correct?
That's correct.
Excuse me, let me rephrase it. Showing a deterioration in tardiness.
Tardiness and...
Absenteeism, correct?
Yes.
They all indicate here that there was excessive absenteeism.
Yes.
Okay. So it'd be fair to say that from December of '89 through up to the point of time in July when he was eventually discharged, that there was a considerable deterioration in his attendance at work, correct?
Yes, enough to move him along in our attendance system.
Okay. Now you have certain rules at the company that you have to follow relative to attendance, or otherwise you'll be discharged, correct?
That's correct.
And these rules are on what, a point system that you have?
Yes.
And after so many points are accumulated, you're discharged?
Yes, it's progressive.
Okay. Well, then would you agree then that due to this progression of absenteeism in the record of Mr. Dahmer here, that he was fired because he failed to conform his conduct to the requirements and conditions of his employment?
He lost his job for excessive absenteeism.
Because he failed to follow the rules, correct?
I guess you could put it that way.
And he failed even after warning to conform to the rules, correct?
I did speak with him every time that he was given a warning.
And so he didn't conform?
He lost his job for excessive absenteeism.
Okay. You've indicated before that you didn't find that there was anything unusual about the fact that he kept to himself. Would you have considered him a loner?
I guess you could, yes.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity as a supervisor to observe him at lunch breaks or other breaks?
Occasionally.
So do you know what he was like with any of his fellow employees at lunchtime or break time?
The few times that I did observe him at lunch or on a break, I noticed him sitting by himself.
Okay. Did you ever have occasion to believe that he was drinking on the job?
No.
Were you aware at any time that he had a skull kept in his locker?
No.
Would there have been anyone there who would have had access or been able to get access to his locker there?
I believe the company does have keys for all of the lockers.
So so somebody could get in there if necessary?
If there was a reasonable cause, the company could open up his locker if there was a great reason to suspect anything
Sure, that's fine.
unusual, yes.
Was there anything at all that would give you any reason to believe that Mr. Dahmer was an alcoholic from his job performance?
No.
Any time just from speaking with him that you've ever smelled alcohol in his breath?
No.
No further questions.
Redirect, Mr. Romero.
State calls Joseph Kaha.
Swear all testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please be seated, sir. And then would you state your name, spelling your last name, please?
Joseph Kaha, K-A-R-E-H-A.
And Mr. Kaha, how are you employed?
I am the manager of the Unicorn Bathhouse in Chicago,
And where is that located in Chicago?
3246 North Halsted Street.
And how long have you been employed there?
Almost 6 years.
And in the course of that employment, are you familiar with records and documents used in the ordinary course of business of the Unicorn Bath Club?
Yes.
And are you able to identify documents that are used in the ordinary course of that business?
Yes.
Judge, I have a number of exhibits, and I ask that I can stand next to the witness when going through. Show me what's been marked as State's Exhibit 47. Can you tell me what that is?
It's a Unicorn membership card.
And is that a membership card that your company would give out to someone who's a member there?
Yes.
And whose name appears on it?
Jeff Dahmer.
And what number appears on it?
Membership number 7799.
And how is that membership number assigned?
I'm sorry.
How is that number assigned? How do you decide who gets what number?
They're just in numerical order. Memberships given out.
And would it be fair to say that membership number 7799 was assigned to Jeff Dahmer?
Yes.
Was it assigned to anybody else?
No.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 48.
Your Honor, for purposes of the record, Mr. O'Meara has shown me Exhibits 47 through 59, and we'd be perfectly willing to short-circuit this by stipulating to the admission of each and every one of those exhibits.
Okay, but also for purposes of the record, I think we have to have some identification of what each and every exhibit is. Maybe Mr. Romero can just indicate that for the record.
If he wants to just indicate what they are, I have no problem with them. I don't know that it's necessary for this witness to be required to go through each of those and identify them. We've seen them. We would be in agreement as to what they are. We have no problem with receiving.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about getting them into the record. And for that purpose, there has to be some identification. I think that maybe quickly we could go through the identification, and then you could go to the particular exhibits that you need some explanation from the witness. That's what we're talking about, just speeding the process up a little bit.
Okay. Can you tell me what number 48 is?
It's a membership application.
And whose name appears?
Jeffrey L. Dahmer.
And his address?
2357 South 57th Street, West Allis, Wisconsin.
And did he sign that?
Yes.
And was his application accepted for membership in the Unicorn Bath?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I'm showing you exhibits 49 through 58. Could you identify what those are?
These are our check-in cards, which show what time a customer had checked into the club and what time they had checked out, and on the specific date.
When a person checks into the Unicorn Bath Club, do they have to fill out one of those cards every time?
Yes.
And does that card show what time they checked in?
Yes.
And does it also show what time they checked out?
Yes.
Will it also indicate if they rented a room while they were there?
Yes.
And does the customer have to sign in when he gets there and sign out when he leaves?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 59. Can you identify what that is?
It's an itemized list of the check-in times of member 7799 Jeffrey Dahmer.
And would that document have been generated by the Unicorn Bath Club?
Yes.
And how many dates does State's Exhibit number 59 indicate that Mr. Dahmer was there?
It shows 10 visits in a one-year period.
Okay. And would those dates correspond with State's Exhibit 49 through 58?
Yes.
All right. And what dates were Mr. Dahmer there at the Unicorn Bath Club?
Membership was purchased on March 31st, 1990. His first check-in was on 4/1 of 90, then again on 4/8/90, then again on 4/13/90, then again on 4/21/90, 6/30/90, 9/22/90. Once again on 9/22/90, he had checked out and checked back in. 9/23/90, 2/4/91, and 2/9/91.
And State's Exhibit 59 also indicates the times and the length of times that he was there on each of those dates, correct?
Yes.
During the time that your records indicate that Mr. Dahmer was a member of the Unicorn Bath Club, did you have any personal contact with him that you can recall?
No, I didn't.
Were you aware of any reports of drugging of other patrons at the Unicorn Bath Club during this time?
No incidents were ever reported to me.
Any dead bodies appear in the Unicorn Bath Club during this time?
No.
Any indication that anyone was striking someone over the head or rendering them unconscious in the Unicorn Bath Club during this time?
No.
No further questions.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kaha, is that how you say your name?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kaha, you're the manager of the Unicorn Bath Club.
Right.
How long have you been the manager?
I've been the manager since October of 91. Previous to that, I was the assistant manager.
Okay. So you were not the manager of this club during any of Mr. Dahmer's visits, is that right?
No, sir. No.
So you were not. Okay. And you're here because you're the manager and the district attorney asked you to produce these records, and you're here to produce the records of your club, right?
Right.
Not because you had any contact with Mr. Dahmer personally?
No.
Right? Okay. Could you tell us on March 31st of 1990 when Mr. Dahmer came and filled out an application, and then he apparently returned the following day on the 1st of April 1990, and he would have to fill out a form, and that form has now been marked, the first one that he filled out on April 1st. What's the exhibit number of that?
49.
Okay, exhibit 49. Would that be the first thing he would have done on April 1st when he arrived at this club?
After purchasing the membership?
Right. Well, he purchased the membership the day before.
Right. Yes, this is the first thing.
He came back on the 1st, and he would have had to fill out that form and sign it, indicating what time he got there.
Right.
Now, are there baths there?
Yes.
And would he get a towel or something?
Yes.
Okay. And he has the option of whether to get a room or not get a room.
Right.
Do you maintain any records of who he might have met there?
No.
So you have no idea on any of those 10 occasions he was there whether he had any interaction with anyone?
No, I don't.
Okay. And you don't know if he left with anyone, do you?
No.
Okay. You don't know what he did while he was there?
No, I don't.
And that would be a matter of some privacy that you would not concern yourself with.
Right.
Fair? Okay. You were asked to bring or to supply these records relative to Mr. Dahmer and his visits at the Bat Club. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did the district attorney's office or the police department ask you to produce records relative to the visits of any other individual to the Unicorn Bath Club?
No.
During this period of time between the end of March of 1990 and the 9th of February of 91, what was the average number of people that were at that bath club at any given time?
I would say the average number on a daily basis.
Right.
Between 75 and 150 people.
That's all.
No questions, Judge.
You may step down, sir.
State calls Detective Don Yaki. Thanks, Mr. Chair.